How's it going, everyone? We are back to once again cover the Critics' Choice PlayStation Store sale. Now, this is the sale that is just about to end. There is an indie sale going on right now. I think the Hot Deal sale is still going on as well. So there's like a lot of sales running right now. But the Critics' Choice and the Hot Deal sale are both ending on February the 12th. I believe you'll have all of February 12th as the final day that those sales are running. We got a couple of games under the price of $10. When I say a couple, I believe it's like 15, so it's quite a lot. But let's get right into it, and let's start things off with a no-brainer, a game that I imagine 99% of you own, but for the 1% that don't, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is 80% off for $9.99. Great to see this game's Complete Edition finally get back down to its old price point. So what happened was back in, I want to say it was 2022, The Witcher 3 PlayStation 5 upgrade had come out, and then it had appreciated the discount price of The Witcher 3. So instead of going on sale for $9.99 like it would for a long time, it was going on sale for like $29.99, or I think it was even $39.99 for a little bit. Ain't nobody trying to pay that for a game that's a decade old. But Witcher 3 is legitimately one of the greatest video games of all time, in my opinion. Incredible from a visual standpoint that still holds up really. Like, can you believe this game, when you look at this game's visuals, is a decade old? That's insane to think about. The visuals are great, narratively great. Geralt is obviously a great main character. Soundtrack is fantastic. Just a good game in terms of all angles of a single-player narrative-driven RPG. It knocks it out of the park in every area. For $9.99, no-brainer, and the DLC is awesome as well. Blood and Wine in particular is the great piece of content and definitely worthwhile for sure. The other DLC is quite good as well, but Blood and Wine is definitely the standout. $9.99, great deal there. Next up, another RPG of a different kind. Yakuza Like a Dragon is down to $9.99. Now, I've said before, I don't think Yakuza Like a Dragon is that bad of a starting place for the RPG games. It plays differently in that it's a turn-based RPG instead of the action beat-em-up games. And you do have a new main character in Ichiban. Now, would it be beneficial for you to be familiar with the story of the previous Yakuza games? Yes. Is it absolutely essential? I would say no. I would say if you find the idea of going through Yakuza 0 through Yakuza 6 a little bit too daunting, and if you want to play with English voice acting, which Yakuza Like a Dragon does have, this might not be a bad starting place. And Ichiban is an awesome character. I know people get up in arms if you say Ichiban is as good as Kiryu, but as his own man, I think Ichiban's a great main character. $9.99, great deal there. Definitely would recommend that. Next up, we got Catherine Full Body Edition, 80% off for $7.99. Man, I played Catherine when it initially came out. I want to say back in 2011, 2012, and I don't know what possessed me, especially as a kid, not a kid, but a teenager, to pick up Catherine and give it a shot, but I ended up really liking it. The puzzle gameplay, I thought, was pretty well done. Like, it wasn't blow away, but I thought it was serviceable in the greater context of the game, being this narrative-driven, I don't want to say dating sim, but it had this dating aspect going on for it. It's just a trippy narrative and very much worthwhile to go through. The Full Body Edition adds another route, and for $7.99, it's a great pickup. Like, the initial $50 price point, I was like, alright, brother, this is a little bit too much, but $7.99, I think, is a great deal, so definitely would give that a shout. BioShock the Collection, 80% off for $9.99. Man, I get a lot of criticism whenever I say BioShock Infinite is my favorite BioShock game. Get it. I get it. All you guys love BioShock 1. I love BioShock 1 as well. I loved Infinite from a presentation standpoint. I thought the gunplay was great. I just thought Infinite was a really solid game. Sue me. But, BioShock the Collection has BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, and BioShock 2 doesn't get a lot of love, but BioShock 2 is a pretty good game as well. All three games for $9.99, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Hopefully BioShock 4, you know, does come out in my lifetime, and hopefully it turns out fairly well. Next up, we got Final Fantasy X and X-2, the HD Remaster Collection, $9.99 on this. Final Fantasy X is one of the most iconic JRPGs of all time. It's a great game. Loved aspects like the sphere grid. I thought the battle theme was awesome. Auron's a great character. The story overall is really good. FF10 is definitely worthwhile to go through, even if it is a little bit dated. Final Fantasy X-2. I know people want to crap on it, like that's the fun thing to do, and certainly in this collection, FF10 is the standout, and just that game alone is worth the price of admission, but I thought FF10-2 was fine. I thought it was totally serviceable. Was it as good as 10? No, but I didn't think it was this abhorrent experience that a lot of people made it out to be. But $9.99 for both titles, definitely a good pickup there. Alien Isolation, the collection, is $9.99. You get Alien Isolation and the DLC. There is a sequel reportedly in development, so that's pretty cool. This game has an incredible atmosphere. I thought the tone of this game was phenomenal, and that's really, as I've said, what you need to stand out with when it comes to a horror game, and I thought they crushed it with Alien Isolation, the collection. For $9.99, I think this is a pretty good deal. Definitely would check that out if you're remotely into atmospheric horror games. Next up, Streets of Rage 4, 60% off for $9.99. Streets of Rage, the beat-em-up series that has been a long time classic, is now available as Streets of Rage 4, and this is more accessible to a newer audience, while at the same time still holding true to what made Streets of Rage Streets of Rage. You've got an awesome visual style to it, great soundtrack, the visuals, like I said, are great, and the gameplay is really solid as well. For $9.99, Streets of Rage 4 would say that's a great pickup if you're looking for an action beat-em-up. Next up, It Takes Two, 75% off for $9.99. Hazelight is about to release their next title, Split Fiction. I don't know how to feel about that game. I'm not, like, completely sold on it, but hopefully it turns out well. And guess what? Hazelight has dropped 2 bangers back-to-back with A Way Out and then It Takes Two. It Takes Two was literally nominated for, like, Game of the Year and things of that nature, so it did incredibly well. If you're looking for a co-op title, It Takes Two is a damn good one, incredibly charming, and for $9.99, a good deal there. Speaking of co-op titles, Risk of Rain 2 is 75% off for $6.24. Love the art style of the game, incredibly replayable and addicting, and is very challenging. Damn near made me break a controller when I initially played it on PC when it was in early access, but had a fun time with it, and for $6.24, I think that's a pretty solid shout as well. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is down to $5.99. Jedi Fallen Order, I think, is a great game, even if you are not a Star Wars fan. You are listening to somebody that's not a big Star Wars guy either. You know, I tried to get into it a little bit more so. I watched some of the movies from the original trilogy. I watched Rogue One in theaters when it came out, but I was never a big Star Wars guy, and Jedi Fallen Order made me a big Star Wars guy in the context of this franchise. Like, I love Cal. I think he's an awesome character, and to see his development in Jedi Survivor as well, I thought was great. The story in Fallen Order is fantastic. Visuals are great. Gameplay is really solid. You know, it's got the Souls-like elements to it, but there's difficulty settings. Like, it don't gotta be super challenging if you don't want it to be. And for $5.99, I think Jedi Fallen Order is a great deal. Definitely give that a look. Next up, speaking of Souls-like, Bloodborne, 50% off for $9.99. Will a remaster ever come? Nobody knows, and, you know, it's $9.99, it's Bloodborne. Do I really gotta sell you more on it? You've heard about this game ad nauseum. I think this is From Software's best game ever. This is the one that I got super into. As far as the Souls-like games go, I would probably rank it Bloodborne 1, Dark Souls 3, 2, and Dark Souls 1, number 3. I think that's my ranking of the top 3. But, yeah, love Bloodborne, love the setting to it, love the vibes of this game. And that's really, when it comes to the FromSoft Souls-like games, that's the aspect that I get into. The presentation, the vibes, thematically, and Bloodborne really drew me in from those angles. Next up, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, 90% off for $5.99. While people are going to be waiting every N7 day to hopefully hear about Mass Effect 5, just go back and play the Mass Effect original trilogy. It's tremendous. We're not going to get Mass Effect 5. If we do get it ever, it'll be like in 2029, 2030. So, like, it ain't coming out. I don't know why they revealed that game. Like, bro, that was the biggest, you know, Elder Scrolls 6 type move that BioWare could do. Oh my god, it's N7 day. Please look at this teaser for this game that's not going to come out for 10 years. But, nevertheless, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 are tremendous. Mass Effect 1 obviously does show its age, but it's still a worthwhile game to go through. And honestly, some of these games from this era, it might be it might be a little bit of the nostalgia goggles, but man, I look at these games and it's just like we were getting these games every 2 years, no 5-year dev times, 7-year dev times, you know, Mass Effect trilogy, Batman Arkham, Red Dead Redemption. I can go on and on. These games that didn't have these immense development cycles, but man, quality level was absolutely sky high, and in comparison to some of the games we get today, obviously a lot of the games we get today are great, but Mass Effect, man, this is one of the pinnacle titles as far as the late 2000s, early 2010s go, and absolutely tremendous to get this collection for $6. Dying Light, the following enhanced edition, 70% off for $8.99. Great deal for Dying Light. Excellent open world action adventure game. Great parkour gameplay. The platforming's really well done. Visuals are great, and there's gonna be another upgrade coming out, and it'll be updated on PlayStation 5 with even more enhanced visuals, and that, I think, is just insane. I mean, this game came out a decade ago, and they're still updating the game, and Dying Light's gonna be one of those franchises that I think is gonna be a mainstay in gaming for a very, very long time. So definitely do check it out. Worthwhile game, and most people would rank Dying Light 1 over Dying Light 2, so certainly a good pickup there for $9. Next up, we got Mafia, the Definitive Edition, 80% off for $7.99. Look, a lot of us have so many billion-hour games in our backlog. Sometimes it's nice to get into an 8 to 9 hour game, play through it, and then move on to the next, and that's exactly what Mafia is, a ground-up remake of Mafia 1. From a gameplay standpoint, still a very basic cover third-person shooter, but well done enough. Narratively is great, voice acting is tremendous, and, you know, Mafia Old Country is coming out later this year, so not a bad time to catch up on the Mafia games, although you'll be able to play Old Country, obviously, without playing the originals and the first 3 games, but you know, not a bad time to play Mafia regardless. They're great games. Lastly, Resident Evil 2, the remake, 75% off for $9.99. Again, it's the RE2 remake. It's really well done. I don't have this attachment towards the original Resident Evil 2, given that, you know, it's a little bit before my time, but this remake I thought was really, really well done. Yeah, visuals are great. Got a PlayStation 5 upgrade here as well, and yeah, solid game all around after you play this. Go play the 3 remake, go play the 4 remake, go play Village, go play Biohazard, and get invested into the world of Resident Evil, because Capcom is doing a killer job with it these days. That'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals under the price of $10. Go check them out for yourself. Links to everything, as always, in the description box below. Thank you for watching. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.